So once again, I'm back and I'm here at this time with David Barnes. So David, I have a question. What inspired you to launch this internship that we've spoken to James and Joanna about?
Well, it's probably a long story. It started when I was able to do some work up in the north with an agency called Pecatano. We were part of a group that looked at child welfare funding for the north. And from that experience, we had the privilege of beginning to work with Pecatano around a number of capacity building issues. And several years ago, we started by doing a strategic plan for the agency, and one of the major objectives at that time was to find ways to bring home their children. Because of lack of foster homes and care facilities in the north, a large number of the children that come into care at any one time were placed in the south, out of their communities, out of their cultural backgrounds. It was an incredible, difficult time for both children and their families to be separated. So that led us to do some thinking about how we would resolve that, and one of the opportunities that came along was the creation of a partnership that we helped facilitate between a group called Key Assets, who are an international care provider company, team, and Pecatano. So that partnership was formed to provide foster care in the north. But one of the challenges that came out of that was housing. How are we going to find ways to care for children if the homes are not adequate, if they don't meet ministry standards, if they're not large enough? Because the housing crisis is well known for a number of years. So we started to create what we called at the time Pecatano Housing Authority. It was an authority to raise funds in order to provide houses for care providers. That started in motion a number of different activities to find ways to raise funds. We did what was called a case for support. We were very fortunate to get, I say we being Pecatano and ourselves, were fortunate to get a grant from the Catherine Donnelly Foundation and the Luke Ford Foundation, which helped us to do what's called a case for support. So that was done, and that basically tells a story about how children need their community to be cared for. From there, we started to do a feasibility study, looking at how receptive would the communities be, the corporate world be, to funding houses for the north. About the same time, we got contacted by a young man, Wes Prankert, who had been involved in a very exciting project up at Attawaugascat, where he helped raise $100,000 to build a playground. And when he heard about the housing crisis, he found us on Twitter at BMG and wondered if we could help him with his campaign to raise money to build houses in the north. Through that conversation, we created a bit of a partnership where he felt that it would be really exciting to put all the efforts into building homes and finding monies for care providers. So he totally got excited by that. One of the things that we realized at the time when he was doing his camp out back in March was the fact that there had to be continued momentum, that this is a very difficult area to raise funds for, unfortunately. And we had to find a strategy to build momentum, to keep it going well beyond what he could do by himself during March. The idea of the student internship was formed at that time through conversations that I had with Tony Yu, who we talked about how to get universities engaged and how to really build some type of momentum. And so the student internship was created as a way of starting to connect with universities. We had a feeling that real change was going to happen if we could engage youth in this effort, that there had to be something different, that had to be more of a grassroots community development initiative. So a case for support, or a case study was written and a competition created, and so that's how we started to think through this student internship as a way of getting this project kick-started over the course of the summer. Obviously knowing that it wasn't going to be all that would be necessary, but it would